1. And there's Tegan. Much better. And here's Kiera, all blown out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do her feet. And then I'm just going to keep the camera on for as long as I have power to keep it on. And do a pet trim on a show dog. Now the way that I do my pet trims on my show dogs, I do it in such a way, hey, Gus, enough, is that I can grow it out pretty quick. I mean, I had her in the, I had her in our special. I mean, she's 12 years old as a veteran, but it grew out enough. All right, so you can already see by the bone structure of her that she has rounder feet. If I can do this without tripping over the cords of these microphones. Hold on. I don't normally do this, but for you guys trying to see, let me see what I can do here. Okay. All right, I'll try not to get my big noggin too much in the way. Now, she was all decked out a month ago. God, it's a month ago since the Springer Spaniel, especially here in York. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? What a weird, screwed up month we've had. Anyway, here's the wall that opens up from a 9 to a 30. Right? I'm going to do a 9. And this is what I was going to show you before, if I can. Okay. I always start. Okay. There's the shortest blade. And I'm not going straight up, I'm going at an angle. There. There. And I have this on the closest, I guess, of the 30 blade setting. Okay. Also switched. Gotta keep seeing where I'm at. All right. Then again, this is on the 30 blade setting. I'm just going to go into that frog area that I like to call it from my old horse days. I'm not going to dig too much. It doesn't matter. Nobody sees it. Just a tiny little bit there. That's it. It's just in and out and done. Doesn't need to be perfect. If you were going to those Groom Olympics like up at Hershey, there it has to be perfect. I mean, they will count any one little hair out of place against you. Trust me. I know. I've been there. I've done those. But for dog showing, performance dogs, your house dog, you don't need to risk getting that too short. That's it. Done. Done, done, done. Oh, the glories of cell phones. Anyway, like I said, as you can see from her bone structure, I mean, she's got just the perfect round foot. Look how high arched it is. Look how she carries herself up here on her pastern. That's probably about the best Springer foot I've ever bred and I've ever had the honor of having under my roof. But she's got this old lady gorilla hair, doesn't she? So while she's here, I might as well go ahead and take care of that. All right, again, I've got that's a 5 blade, and I'm barely going over the top. I am not pushing down like you would for a pet trim. Barely, barely, barely skimming over the top. Can you see that? Right, now look how much different that looks from this one. See all this? Right? As we all get older and we start growing hair where it shouldn't be. I am skimming over the top. I am not pressing down. This is a 5F blade. I wouldn't suggest doing this freelance like I am doing with her unless you know you have an absolutely perfectly trained dog. She goes to move or shake and you've just got a big gash in it. Now the way to avoid that is by picking up this foot and then just working on this one. But with Kiera, I don't need to do that. All right, so we're going to kind of go bam, 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 bam here with these feet. Let me try to, I can't even see. I hate the way this screen has people checking in and then I can't see where the camera is. All right, so there's the toenail. So I'm just going to roll that hair off the top of the toenail and then roll it off and just go right in there. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to roll it off the top on that side. Roll it off the top on this side. Find the middle piece. Roll it. Roll it. Roll it. Roll it. Up. Now you can certainly take your time and go back under there. Let's see what we got. I guess that's good. And again, you always, even if you can't get to grooming your dog once a week, twice a week, once a month, make sure you just keep the equipment up at your house so that you can keep the mats out from in between the toes. If you can keep the mats out from in between the toes, no matter how long that foot is, you're going to be able to trim it to make it look beautiful. Like I did with Mr. Nova today. He had no mats between his toes. My contraption here. And again, once again, I'm trimming to where her full and natural weight is down on her foot. She was in a complete show trim, 15th of March for our dog shows. It's likely that I've done her since then. I don't remember. Because whenever I'm out here and I have time, I just throw my own dogs up on the table. There was that pastern again. You guys see that? You just go straight up. Straight up, right there. And then look, you can even see against that black table what that does for your eye optically. Just nice. Well, she's got straight pasterns, but that's the way you trim them. And again, if you're grooming on liver springer, if you're doing them, I guess on Tuesday to get ready for a Saturday dog show. Now, this is a pet trim, so don't go hysterical that I'm taking hair off of her. Now, let me show you a trick. I have owned enough thinning shears in my life that I could probably buy this property 3 times since they're like $200, $300, $400 a pop. And after I get the first edge, I can never find anybody to sharpen them right ever again. So these are Conair, C-O-N-A-I-R. You can get them on Amazon. They are $5. No crap, $5. And I use them until they have a dull blade. I throw them away and I open up the next one. That is the nicest pair of thinning shears I have ever owned in my life. So, you know, get over the designer jeans and the designer tennis shoes and the designer grooming equipment. Because I'm telling you, you don't need to spend $200 on a thinning shear. And yes, I use that thinning shear to do all my back coat work too. I've been using these for about 10 years. Well, maybe even longer. I don't know. Time flies by. Unless you're on a lockdown. So, Then, of course, then if you go like that with your foot, then you're even giving it more arch. So when you're in the show ring, it's even that much prettier. You swing this around to where you're not looking at a white foot up against a white crate. There you go. Okay, and same thing with the next one. Kind of get you in frame there. All right, so I'm just finding the normal hair that would go off to the side, and then the normal hair that would go off the side. There's the toenail. So I'm pushing down. You can see that swatch of hair. And I'm going to pull this over and I'm going to push that down and do that swatch of hair. Pull that over. Pull that over. Up. There's Nova's mom, so they're probably all going to go crazy. That's it. As far as having the dog's foot up in the air. That is it. Now my nice round foot shear. There we go. And then down. Yeah, if you're a beginner groomer, I wouldn't suggest you do what I just did. Try to work that hair off the top of the foot gradually with your thinning shear. I've just been doing this so long that I can sculpt just about anything with those double ducks. Anyway, then you got that granny hair. I'm just going to get that off at the thinning shear. All right, so, and there you go. So there's the round foot for Springer. You saw Nova's oval foot. Now we're going to get back here to the back foot. And like I said before, for the back foot, I don't want the toenail to show, so I'm not going to pick it up and do that roll off to the side over each of them. Be a whole lot easier if I had a film guy here, but I don't. So, get my comb out. And once again, now I turned this, that's the way I would normally operate the scissors, but I deliberately turned them around. So now I essentially have a straight shear. Haha, I'm going to go around this chair with this wire, and then I know I'm going to trip and fall, but oh well. So somebody out there can call 911 if I'm stupid and I trip and I fall. And again, I do all this work with the dog's full weight on the foot. And then that sculpting that I showed you with Nova. Sculpt, sculpt, sculpt. That's it all. I'll keep trimming her as long as I can. I don't know how much for me to have this microphone on. I can't have the phone hooked up to power. So I do not know how long it will go unplugged. But we shall see. And again, the round shear to a round foot. And yeah, I switched out grooming tables, you could tell, right? Got my old swinging table for this one. And now she's got some granny hairs. So I'm going to take the 5F and just sculpt on the top of the hair. I am not pushing down. Sculpting it over the top. Got to get that gorilla hair off. And just like we did before, okay, now there, again, she's in a pet trim, so I don't have as much depth on the back of her hocks as I would normally have for a show dog. What I left on Nova is probably way, way closer to the way I would trim for a show hock, and that's why I used him. But she's in a pet trim, but even still, I've got almost that full depth of that comb. For a show trim, I like the entire depth of that comb, but still, that's still pretty. All right, so okay, the anatomy of a foot here, if I can get it in picture. Anyway, so there you have your nice round foot, right? And remember, there is always webbing on the inside of a Springer foot. There it is, so that they can swim. And you can see, it's just like a web. And no, not all breeds of dogs have that much webbing between their toes. Depends on what they're used for. But these guys swim, so it's very interesting because when the AKC hunt test program was getting together, and the original score sheets that we used for the AKC hunt test were the exact same score sheets that were used for the ESS, FTA, WD tests for English Cockers and Springers. They were the same. And there was a big controversy when the hunt test program was starting to get together as to whether Springers, these spaniels, should have a water event with their hunting test, because the AKC just did not believe that Springer Spaniels were a water dog. Oh my God. The first Springer bitch I owned back in the 1960s, she could put her entire body into a glass of water if it was laying on the floor. Not water dogs. I've never seen a more water dog in my life than a Springer. All right, so yes, we fought and we kept it in, and I'm very glad because it should be in there. All right, so we're done with feet. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, this is a 9-blade, and I'm going to try to keep you in frame. Okay, so again, a show trim and a pet trim is identical in every way, except for on their backs. With a pet trim, I will use a clipper and F blade, and I will shorten up the feathering. That's it. That's the only difference. There is no other difference. They are identical. Maybe what I'll do is I'll move this back and okay. The cord to this microphone has gotten wrapped around this contraption about 14 times. So let's see where we are. If I had a camera guy, this could probably be better, but I don't. So we'll just do this. Hopefully at that angle you can see something. But if you can't, for all of you who've known me for years and years and years, I'll give you the link. This is on my www.knd.com website. And you all know that I've had these for like a zillion years. And I'll give you a link. But right there, look. Yep, Young Debbie. Look, Young Debbie. And there's tintinnabulation. So I have a whole series of these where you can actually take me home and plug me in. So this is a 9-blade. And from the corner of the ear to the corner of the eye. And you always want to trim on a smooth, flat, tight surface. So you see how I'm pulling the skin and the hair the whole way back? It's done deliberately. If you don't have a smooth, flat, tight surface, don't put your clipper there because you could end up with a big vet bill. I mean, these are clippers, they are sharp. So again, I'm going to pull that. Make this a smooth, flat, and this is a 9-blade against the grain. I go on like an airplane and I come off like an airplane. Then in here, out of the way. Get all that yucky stuff off. Very gently go down there. Old girls, they're going to have like little nicks and necks. Here, I do not take the clipper inside the fluting there, okay? I just very gradually start there. It's not even clippering. And then I just gradually tilt it to the back skull. I just gradually tilt it to the back skull. You never, never, never want to clipper any of this off. That's what gives you that high arched eyebrow that makes a Springer a Springer. The headpiece of this dog is exquisite. Certainly, in my opinion, I think the prettiest headpiece of any dog in the sporting group, but I am completely biased. Anyway, so you want all that nice hair to be there. Again, depending on how furry or hairy, and I am not pushing down with these clippers again, I'm just kind of skimming over the top. And again, I'm just skimming over the top. This is a 9-blade to get the whiskers off. You don't push down, just skim over the top. One whisker is always left. Then to do this part of their ear, see if you're still in frame. Okay, and again, this is the normal way to hold these scissors, but I want to make them a straight shear. So I'm going to turn them around. And I am going to use them as a straight shear. Sounds like my videographer just walked in. Is that Patrick? Uh-huh. Say hi. Hi. All right. Do you want to just keep me centered on the cell phone so I don't have to worry about that and groom the dog too? I mean, you can pretty much just leave it on the tripod. Just make sure whatever I'm doing is in the frame, if you will. I've already done her feet, but I figured I'd just keep going ahead and grooming her as long as the battery is good. Now, it's winter. This is a 5F blade. Can you see her body?
I see her. I don't see you.
Oh, I don't care about me. Okay, so this is just, that's a 9-blade. Yeah, that goes to show you right there. You got to check your blades. Anyway, so here's your 5F. And when you do clipper, you go on like an airplane and then off like an airplane. You don't boom, boom, because that will leave sets of clipper marks. So this is a 5F. If you use a 4F on a dog, you could have it grown out in like 8 weeks to having show coat, enough top coat to show it, at least as a class dog. You know, I wouldn't recommend it in the specials ring, but you don't need to struggle. If you're not planning on showing your dog for 6 months, go ahead and take a 4F blade over the top and let it grow back in. I do that with all my puppies anyway. Before any of my puppies go home, at that 7-8 week mark, I take a clipper and I go over their back. And then as soon as you do that, they will start growing in that flat, silky top coat. Now, even with this 5F, I am sculpturing. I'm really not pushing the whole way down. Now I am. Now from the back of the headpiece here. Off like an airplane. Off like an airplane. I'm actually raising the clipper and coming off as I go. I'm not starting and then stopping. So I'm looking to be clipping here, but I'm starting up here and I'm not even looking there. I'm coming down, and where I'm clippering is where I'm looking. But I'm starting all the way up here, and where I'm clippering is where I'm looking. But if I want to trim here, I'll start the clipper up here and then work into that area. And then off to the side. I mean, even with a 5F on this dog, you could, I mean, honestly see how in 2 months I could have her back in the show ring. Three months to make it safe for yourself, but there's no reason to fight and struggle with top coat constantly if you're not showing your dog for a long period of time. If you are, then work that top coat every single week. Get out that pumice stone and work it with a liver springer. I've never had to use a pumice stone on a black springer. I just do the back combing, which is so much easier. That's why if you want to get into showing springers, start with a black springer first. Way easier to trim and take care of the hair. You won't have all the sun fading. And that's a whole nother, that's tricks of the trade. What is that? Tricks of the trade 1 or 2. Where I can show you how to restore the natural color on a liver springer after it gets all sun bleached and oranged. Not changing the color of the dog, just putting it back to this, to liver. But if you own black springer, you don't even have to worry about that. Anyway, so again, this is just a 5F, and I'm really not pushing all the way down on it. She's bushy because I did have her in a show trim a month ago for the shows. And I'm still going to keep this filled in, even on a pet trim, because when she's out running my backyard and I'm looking at her, I like to see that pretty top line that they have when they're in the show ring. So, no reason that you can't just leave that. If you're going to be using this as an in-between for showing, don't go too far down on these sides. That you won't be able to grow back in time. Okay, now I'm going to work on her tail. We good, Patrick, where you are? All right, still with the 5 blade. Around here. I usually take a 9 blade and go under the tail, which I did before her bath. So I already did that. Can't show you that now because I've already done it. Ugh. All right, and because she is in a pet trim, if you want to have length on a pet trim, which is nice because they look like a Springer, then get out the thickness. Every pet Springer I have, I go through their whole coat with a thinning shear, and then that way I can send them home with longer feathering and not have it get matted. Remember 1 2 1 2? So when you're using these center 1 2 1 2, you never want to go more than 1 2 1 2 with the single edge thinning shear, and keep moving it the whole time you're using it. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay. So for me, for pet trim, when I can take this comb and go through it, and it goes through super, super easy, as if like it's air, like there's not even any hair. That's when I stop thinning. I mean, I like a little length even on my pet trim so that they're out running around, they still look like a show dog. She's a champion. She can still look pretty at 12 years old, running around the backyard. And again, there's that trick with that shear, having it, I'm holding it the opposite direction so it actually becomes a straight shear. Rid of that. Get rid of all this. And then I've still got my 5F. Carve that out, make that look pretty. Yeah, it looks fine. And again, I still have that depth in the hock back here. Oh, cannot get through that with a comb. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Another little trick on a pet trim is you start in the center of the belly and go up the whole center of the belly like that. Nobody's ever going to see it, especially in the summer. Oh my God, keeps them so much cooler. Nobody's ever going to see it. And a lot less matting if you have a boy, and it's a lot less pee-pee for the boy if you just shave that strip. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. These show dogs can grow hair, I can tell you that much. So the trick is, with a nice pet trim, is to use these thinning shears. $5 on Amazon. 1 2 1 2 1 2. And I mean, when I'm open, I could be grooming 5 dogs a day, 6 days a week. And these thinning shears will last me 6 months. So, $5, it doesn't hurt me at all. And it is the best thinning shear I've ever had for doing top coat work. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh. She's not mad at it. I'm not doing this because she's mad at it. I'm doing this because it's going to be a pet trim, and I want to leave as much length in her feathering as I can so that it looks pretty. But I don't want it to mat and tangle. So that's the trick. Have the length, but just not the thickness. Finally. Okay. Finally, that comb can go through like air. Like there's nothing there. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't know, from beginning to end, if I started with a dog that was done once a month, it'd probably take me 35 minutes to groom her completely from beginning to end. But I'm very fast, and that's probably because I've done commercial pet grooming most of my life. It makes me actually faster than a show person would, because you've got to get them out. So any place that this comb does not want to go through this hair, like a hot knife through butter, to where I don't even feel it. It's just air, floating air. Yeah, I know. She's looking at me like I'm torturing her. If you've ever owned a really good hunting dog, this is not their forte. Being up on a grooming table and being fooled with. My show dogs love it. They die for it. They all come over and jump with their first front legs up on the table, begging the first ones to be done. And my 2 hunting dogs, Kiera and Troy, just hide. They don't really want to be up here. Can't say that I blame them. Again, I'm going to use that trick of turning these around. And making that straight edge. Pet trim. I know a lot of show people use their thinning shear for there. Don't freak out. This is just a pet trim. Any place I can make it a little bit faster, easier, quicker, but still make it nice. It works for me. Okay, hop, hop. Sit down. Okay. Ooh, got some snaggy hairs in there. So the other thing about before you give your dog a bath, have it completely brushed and combed out before the bath. Because if you have any thickness or tangles or matting in the dog when you bathe it, as it dries, all of that shrinks. And you've just made a problem worse by shrinking it and making all of that tighter. Stand. Another hot spot is the armpits for pet trims. So I like to get in there and get as much hair out of the armpits. Pet trims, not show trims. Don't want to be taking that hair off under there. Otherwise all you're going to have is a big gaping hole is the judge is looking at your dog's front end coming at them on the up and back mat. Pet trims are different than show trims. Okay, so not too bad for two old ladies. And you can still give that outline on your pet trims. When I first started showing springers in the 1960s and into the 70s, we never trimmed any of this. It was just shown completely naturally. There wasn't that underlining that we do now. Okie doke, and swing her around. Let me see what you got on this side. Don't know how much power I'm going to have. I want to run out. For sure, I want to run that down there. Blend all that in. See how pretty? Look at that. Still want to get all that hair off the elbow. Under the armpit. And we can still do homage to our show lines. So when she's out walking around, hair off of here so we can see what we're doing. Again, just a pet trim. Yep, that's the secret to a pet trim, is to get all that hair. Take your thinning shears and get all that hair, that thick hair, all thinned out. It's your biggest and best secret to doing a good pet trim on a Springer. All right. And again, I left what we leave here with our show dogs. Yes, she has the right dip at the croup going off the spine and into the tail and all that fancy stuff, but our judges like to see a straight top line on a Springer, so we have to trim the straight top line in. And there's no reason why she can't be running my backyard and be a pretty girl. How's that look? Yes, I know. She's totally bored. All right, so there you go. And really, in 3 months, I could have her, between 8 and 12 weeks, I could have her, not her feathering, but her top coat and everything back out. And all of that is shown to you in real time, where you can start and stop everything that I'm saying. If you get my DVDs, which maybe I can get down into streaming or putting them on a flash drive, which is probably better these days. Anyway, so say goodbye. Say goodbye, Kiera. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. See you next time.